in Chicago and Rutgers University, and has spoken and written extensively on the topics of religion and politics, the youth vote, and African American political engagement. He currently works as a host for PBS affiliate WYCC Television's The Professor's Weekly Talk Show, and has provided political commentary for BET TV, WGN TV, NBC TV, WVON Radio, and The Word Network, Trumpet Magazine, and a host of online periodicals. He is the author of the forthcoming book, The Way Out: Christianity, Politics, and the Future of the African American Community. In addition to this, he has also had an extensive performing arts career, which includes commercial and industrial work for companies including McDonald's, Empire Carpet, Six Flags, Federal Express, Kraft, Astellas Pharmaceuticals, Jewelers Mutual Insurance, and Accenture. He is the writer and producer of the touring production Torn, the musical, and has conducted theater-based training for the Chicago Housing Authority and Starcom Media. He is also a co-founder of the Way Christian Ministries, a non-denominational church in Chicago's South Loop neighborhood. Williams lives in Chicago with his wife Rosalind and 3 beautiful children, Gabrielle, Amaris, and Ted IV. You can read more about his work at tedwilliams3rd.com. So please help me in putting your hands together as we bring up our guest speaker, Professor Ted Williams.
Good afternoon, good evening. How you guys doing? Great. You know, I was on my way over here today and I said, boy, the hawk has arrived, has it not? It is cold coming over here. I wish someone had told me that before I cut off all that hair I had a couple weeks ago. I didn't realize how cold it would be with no hair. It's good to be here. I'm grateful to be here. I am extremely excited to talk about something that I believe is so important in our community, the concept of academic success. The question I have today for all of you is, how do you define success? Interpretations of words matter greatly. When I was younger, I remember going to the gas station with my family periodically. We would go to fill up the tank for whatever reason. And I would see this sign at the gas station that says, "No smoking, stop engine." You might have seen the sign that sign before, right? Well, I remember when I was younger, I used to see that sign, and people would ask me the question, when I got older, you had temptations. People come and talk to you about things like smoking and stuff like that. And I said, well, when I was younger, I said, well, I don't want to smoke. And they said, well, why wouldn't you smoke with us? We smoke whatever. I said, because I don't want to get injured. And they said, well, what is engine? I said, don't you know the sign at the gas station where it says, "No smoking, stop engine"? Most of my life, I thought that engine was some disease that you got from smoking. Until somebody corrected me and said, no, you got the wrong interpretation of the word. The interpretation of success is very important. Success is defined as the favorable or prosperous termination of attempts or endeavors. It is defined as the accomplishment of one's goals, the achievement of something desired, planned, or attempted. The question I want to ask you today, and I want our Phi Theta Kappa scholars to ask themselves today, is not whether I can attain my goals, but the question I have for you today is, do you truly have the right goals? Dr. King said the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, this is the goal of true education. You see, our communities are in desperate need of scholars. But not just scholars who are content with success for themselves. Our community is in desperate need of scholars who can rise above the limited confines of their own desires and proclivities to aspire to be used for social revolution and transformation. We don't need any more successful, selfish people. people. We ask our kids all the time when they're young, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I think we ought to start changing that question. I think we ought to ask our kids not what they want to be when they grow up, but we ought to start asking them who they want to be when they grow up. Because if we ask the right question, the who will dictate and determine the what. I have always believed in my life that I was destined for greatness. But it's not because I decided that that's what I was going to be. I come from a family in which I have a lot of strong people. And my mother, and my aunts, and my grandmother, and my father, when I was younger, always put expectations before me. Have you ever had someone speak greatness into your life? When someone speaks greatness into your life, it changes the way that you look at your own life, doesn't it? It makes you think about the things that you would do, that you want to do, that everybody else is doing, and you look at them and say, wait a second, I can't do that because I'm supposed to be great. I think what we need in our community is more people speaking greatness to our young people. I think what we need in our community is more people understanding that they are called to something greater, so all the things that the temptations that they have around them, they can overcome them because they recognize they are called to something greater. As I got older, I realized that this achievement that I was called to was not ultimately about me. For as the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is expected or required. You see, I recognized that I was called to give my life in service. And so, for the past 11 years, I've had the great privilege of working here at Kennedy King College. And I tell you, as I tell my students, Kennedy King College is the Harvard of Inglewood. It is. I'm serious. What I recognize, people have a lot of perceptions about where we come from in this community. And they want to assume that because you go to school in Inglewood, you go to school what we call the hood, that your academic and economic achievement is limited. But I'm here to tell you today that is such a lie. That it is an honor for me as a person who went to very elite schools on the East Coast and here in Chicago to spend my career at Kennedy King College. Why? Because we are making a difference in the world. We are transforming the destinies of people and families by the education that we get. Don't you ever think for a moment that what you are doing here is wasted. Do you realize that only 1% of the people in the world have a 4-year college degree? 1. That means that when you leave Kennedy King College and you go to a 4-year school and you have the opportunity to get a degree and walk across that stage, you will be in the top 1% of educated people in the entire world. That's quite an honor, isn't it? See, we can either choose to use this education or we can waste it. And we know many people who waste it, don't we? But we are here today to change the destiny of our communities. In the past 10 years that I have been here, I have lived a life where I, number one, have gotten the opportunity to serve, but I've put it in practice what my mother taught me. She said, baby, you should not have any limits in your life. People want to put you in a box because they're more comfortable with you in a box. You break out of that box every time. Over the past 10 years, 11 years teaching here, I've been blessed to write and tour 2 musical productions. I've hosted a television show and appeared on a variety of national networks. I've started a church, I've started a family, I've served in my community, I've started a business, I've mentored hundreds of students, and I've written a book. Just finished that one. And people always ask me, what are you? Are you a teacher? Are you a performing artist? Are you this? Are you that? And I say that I am all these things. Because I believe that I am divinely created for success. I want you to believe the same. Phi Theta Kappa scholars, I want you to say with me today, I am divinely created for success. I am divinely created for success. Now I want you to say it not because I told you it now. But now I want you to say it like you mean it. I am divinely created for success. I am divinely created for success. I want you to say it one more time. extra credit or something like that. Or gives you a paper and then another paper and another paper. I don't know anybody like that. But you need to believe that you can persevere through those things. When you have children and the children are sick and it's difficult to come to school and to come and to engage in this activity of education, you need to be reminded of who you are. You know, the students here at Kennedy King College, I'm so impressed by. I went to college at Indiana University, I went to Rutgers University, I went to the University of Chicago, and most of the time I was living with somebody who was paying my bills and all these other things. I didn't have a job, I didn't have kids. And then I come to Kennedy King, and I work every day with students who balance families and balance jobs. Not one job, sometimes two jobs. Some people know y'all got 3 jobs around here. And it amazes me that you are able to achieve the way that you are. So when times are hard, you have to remember that I am divinely created for success. Say it one more time with me, please. I am divinely created for success. Our community desperately needs you to take your talents, gifts, and your success and roll up your sleeves to get to work. I want to share with you 3 things that I believe our community is desperately in need of, and that you can fulfill tomorrow when you walk out this door. Number 1, our community is desperately in need of education. We recognize that education is the most predictable measure of social mobility in the society in which we live. Those who are educated, who have knowledge, have power. Those that do not are left behind. Your education, there are many things that people can take away from you in life, but they can never take that away from you. Our community, number 2, needs faith and family. I am a firm believer that family and faith together are critical to the elevation of our community. And I know this may not be academically popular all the time, but I grew up with a mother who made me go to church and made me act a certain way and told me that this is not how you're supposed to live. And so when my friends started doing things, I recognized that I was better than that because I was a child of God. And I had a father who put me in my place. When I was 16 years old, I decided that I was going to fight my father. Because he told me one time that I was going to go out. He said, well, you're not going out. I said, well, yes, I am. He said, well, no, you're not. I said, well, yes, I am. And he tried to block, my mother actually was in the room, tried to block the door. So I walked up to my mother, I said, I'm leaving now. Please excuse me, get out of my way. This is 16, y'all, by the way. I know you all can relate to this. Something happens when you become a teenager, like it's the hormones in your body, your head, you're not thinking straight, and you just do things. Thank God for second chances, right? Try to move my mother out the way. And my father was like, no, you didn't. You put your hands on my wife. You know, my father and I laugh about this today. But back then we weren't laughing about it. So I decided I'd play football, so I thought I was kind of swole or whatever. So I decided, we had learned how to put our shoulder in and drills or whatever. So I turned around, my father grabbed me, I turned around, put my shoulder down, and started running to the bed, like boom, like I'm gonna take him down. So I knocked him over on the bed, and I started swinging on my father. Now mind you, I'm the shortest male in my family. My father's 6'3", my brother's 6'3". My uncle's all tall. I don't know what happened. I had all the hair. And that's a blessing to me. But somewhere in the middle of me fighting my father, I had an out-of-body experience, you know what I mean? Where I said, what the heck are you doing? Are you crazy? And I stopped. And my father grabbed me by the throat. And he flipped me over. He put his knee on my chest and said, if you ever in your life think that you're the man in this house, I will knock you out. And I tell you what, I never did it again. But I needed that. Because I was a young man. I was trying to find my way in the world. And my father put me in my place. I want to speak to the men for a second. We need fathers in our community now more than ever. If you are a father, we need fathers to take care of the kids. And the truth is, if you don't have kids, we need fathers to take care of other people's kids. It says it takes a village, does it not? We got to mentor each other. We got to help each other. I believe one of the greatest jobs that I have here is to mentor young people. If you ever come to my office, I'm always trying to bring them in and to grab a hold of them and to help them to understand the greatest that's in them. Last but not least, we need entrepreneurs. I also come from a background of entrepreneurs. I believe everybody ought to have a little hustle. I believe that our communities will die if we do not own any businesses in our community. Do you understand that? It's not that we don't own any. The vast majority of businesses, if you understand, are owned by people who live outside of our community. There is no way in the world that any community can survive if all of the dollars leave the community. We must begin to start businesses. We must encourage those businesses, and we must promote and support the businesses that are in our communities. I want to close here with a few quotes about success. I want to leave the Phi Theta Kappa scholars with these thoughts. A bunch of quotes that I found that I think are extremely powerful. Identify your problems, but give your power and energy to solutions. Things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out. When your life flashes before your eyes, make sure you've got plenty to watch. Be content to act and leave the talking to others. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. If your ship doesn't come in, swim out to meet it. Too many of us are not living our dreams because we are living our fears. As long as you're going to be thinking anyway, you may as well think big. Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning. These quotes are from people like Benjamin Franklin, Steve Jobs, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Socrates, a lot of people who made a difference. I want to close with one quote that I think is the greatest of all. And it's by this carpenter that lived 2,000 years ago. He said, "The greatest among you will be the servant of all." I am convinced that your greatness will not be determined by how much money you make or how many degrees you get behind your name. But your greatness will be determined by how you use your talents to serve other people and to uplift humanity. Phi Theta Kappa scholars today, I want to charge you to be a great man or woman. I want to charge you to use your gifts to uplift other people. I want to charge you to change the conditions of our communities. Because your education, as great as it is not just about you. It is about elevating and changing and transforming our communities that are suffering so greatly. We need every one of you to get out there, to roll your sleeves up, and to get to work. Thank you so much for listening today. Have a wonderful day.